What's up, everybody? Weston here with the Hidden Gibbon, back with another daily deck tech video. And today, we have a viewer request for a card from one of my favorite sets of all time, the Lord of the Rings set. We have the Balrog, Durin's Bane. So without further ado, let's get straight into it, shall we? So the Balrog, Durin's Bane, is a 7/5 for 5 generic, black and red. And I know that's steep, but it does get better. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each permanent you sacrifice this turn. He has haste, and the Balrog Durin's Bane can't be blocked except by legendary creatures, which, although seems good on the surface, every single creature seems to be legendary these days, so not quite as strong of an ability there. And when the Balrog dies, destroy target artifact or creature an opponent controls. So, we're going to be doing treasures today. And this is going to make our 7-drop uncastable dude into very, very castable. Because if you have treasures out there, so say you have 5 treasures out there, and you sack 1 for a black. Not only will that pay for the black pip of Balrog, but will tick down that generic cost to 4. Then you do 1 for the red. Alright. Now it's down to 3. Then you only have to pay 1 treasure and another mana, and you've got him out there. That's 3 treasures and 1 land tap. That's pretty solid. I'd take that deal. That deal's a damn good deal. Alright, so we're going to make lots of treasures today, mix it up with a tiny amount of Voltron, and let's see what we can do from here. This deck, by the way, comes in at 452. I did give it a couple more powerful cards, and with great power comes great money cost. So let's get into it, shall we? We do have creatures in here. We have Academy Manufacturer, and yes, I will get to it later, but I did put Nuka-Cola Vending Machine and Clock of Omens in here. That generates infinite tokens. What you do is you have Academy Manufacturer. If you would create a clue, food, or treasure, you create 1 of each instead, and we'll scroll down here to... I know we're going a little bit out of order today. Then you have Nuka-Cola Vending Machine. You pay your 1 mana, and you create a food token. Well, then what that does is it creates a food and then a treasure and then a food, a treasure, and a clue. All right, so you have your food and your clue that are untapped with your untapped treasure. Okay, you untap. You tap your clue and your food to use Clock of Omens to untap your Nuka-Cola Vending Machine. You use the treasure token to then pay the 1 cost to generate a food, and you can do this ad infinitum. Again, you're sacrificing those treasures non-stop. You have all of these extra tokens. I did not put Kruk Clan Ironworks in here, but one thing you could do is feed this into Kruk Clan Ironworks and then have an X casting cost spell that could blow out your opponents, like Torment, Palefire, etc. But back up here, we do have a Cursed Marauder making people sacrifice their stuff. We've got, plenty of stuff. We want to make sure the opponents don't have a whole lot of things on the board because we're going to want our Balrog to smash in and smash face. Other effects that we have in here like this are definitely Fleshbag Marauder, Merciless Executioner, and we have Plague Crafter. We do have Cavern Horde Dragon in here, also from Lord of the Rings. He's a 6/6 for 9, but he costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest number of artifacts an opponent controls. We have Flying, we have Trample, we have Haste, and whenever he deals combat damage to a player, you create a treasure token for each artifact that player controls. That's a very strong ability when lots of people like to pile lots of mana rocks. We have Crime Novelist, which is whenever you sacrifice an artifact, put a 1/1 counter on Crime Novelist and add a red mana. This also can go very well with Kruk Clan Ironworks if you want to throw it in this deck. Here is one of our money cards. Literally just about 1/4 of our budget in 1 card. This card needs reprints and probably needs no introduction at this point, but is Ancient Copper Dragon. It's a 6/5 for 6. It flies, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you roll a d20, and you create a number of treasure tokens equal to the result. That's pretty damn strong. There's a reason he commands a $100 price. He's only been printed twice, and is extremely strong, and also has the what I like to call the dragon tax, or what a lot of people like to call the dragon tax. People like dragons. Good dragons demand a premium. We have gold span dragons, so whenever he attacks or becomes the target of spell of ability, you create a treasure token, and your treasures can add 2 mana. So if you have this out here with your Academy Manufacturer, Clock of Omens, and Nuka-Cola Vending Machine, that also generates infinite mana. Fun fact for you. Fun times. Grim Hireling, whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create 2 treasure tokens. You can also sacrifice X treasures. Target creature gets -X till end of turn. We have Kalane, Reclusive Painter. Whenever Kalane enters the battlefield, create a treasure, and other creatures you control enter the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on them for each mana from a treasure spent to cast them. So that is going to make your Balrog pretty huge every time you cast him in this deck. We have Lobelia, Sackville Baggins, one of my favorite cards in Magic the Gathering. 2/3 for 3, Flash Menace, and when she enters the battlefield, exile target creature card from an opponent's graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn, then create X treasures, where X is the exiled creature's power. So if they have a big chungus creature and you kill it, or they sacrifice it, well, you get to exile it and you get all of the treasures. We have Magda in here. Other dwarves get +1/+0. Whenever a dwarf you control becomes tapped, create a treasure, and you can sack 5 treasures to search your library for a dragon card and put it onto the battlefield. We're going to have plenty of treasures. Use it to search up your Goldspan Dragon, Cavern Horde, or Ancient Copper Dragon. We have Mahadi, Emporium Master. At the beginning of your end step, create a treasure token for each creature that died this turn. You know, goes very well with our flesh bag and things like that. Mayhem Devil, whenever a player sacrifices a permanent, deals 1 damage to any target. So if you have this on the battlefield with your Nuka-Cola Vending Machine combo, you can just kill everyone at the table pretty much instantly, as long as they can't disrupt your combo. Mirkwood Bats, another way to kill everybody by generating the infinite tokens. Whenever you create or sacrifice a token, each opponent loses 1 life. Pitiless Plunderer, whenever a creature you control dies, create a treasure. Professional Facebreaker, whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure token and sacrifice a treasure, exile the top card of your library. You can play it this turn. We have Rankle and Torbrand, flying for strike haste. Whenever Rankle and Torbrand deals combat damage to a player or a battle, because we haven't forgotten what those cards are, choose any number. Each player creates a treasure token. Each player sacrifices a creature, or if a source would deal damage to a player or battle this turn, it deals that much +2. We have Ruthless Technomancer here. Whenever it enters, you may sacrifice another creature you control. If you do, create a number of treasure tokens equal to that creature's power. And then you can pay 3 sack X artifacts. Return target creature card with power X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. X can't be 0. Swashbuckler Extraordinaire. When it enters the battlefield, create a treasure. Whenever you attack, you can sacrifice 1 or more treasures. When you do, up to that many target creatures gain double strike until end of turn. Do this to your Balrog. He will smash face. We have pay 1 life, sack a creature, create a treasure token. We have Zorn. Whenever you would create 1 treasure token, instead create those treasure tokens plus an additional treasure token. This does very, very fun things. We have Blasphemous Act, deal 13 damage. We have Blasphemous Edict, sacrifice 13 creatures. Blood Money is a 7-cost wrath that for each non-token creature destroyed, you get to create a tapped treasure. Brass Bounty, for each land you control, create a treasure token. We have Feed the Swarm, destroy target creature or enchantment an opponent controls, you lose life. Hit the Motherlode, discover 10. If the discovered card's mana value is less than 10, create a tapped treasure token equal to the difference. Innocent Blood, each player sacks a creature. Strike it Rich, create a treasure token. Too Greedy, Too Deep. This one's in here more for flavor. Put a creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. That creature deals damage equal to its power to each other creature. So it's like super Chandra's Ignition. We have Visions of Ruin. Each opponent sacrifices an artifact. For each artifact sacrificed this way, you create a treasure token. And then you can flash it back for 10, and it costs X less, where X is the greatest money value. of a commander you own on the battlefield or in the command zone, which is pretty easy because, you know, our dude costs 7. So this is going to cost 7 less. So, you know, flashing this back for 3 isn't half bad. We have Bedevil. So double black and red, destroy target artifact, creature, or planeswalker. Big score, discard card, draw 2, create 2 treasures. Blood for the Blood God, one of my favorite cards of all time in Magic. Hopefully it gets some. We need another Warhammer 40k run to get us another reprint of this. This spell costs 1 less for each creature that died this turn. Discard your hand, draw 8 cards, deals 8 damage to each opponent. Exile Blood for the Blood God. Burnt Offering, sack a creature, add mana, red and black mana equal to its mana value. Chaos Warp's in here, Corrupted Conviction, sack a creature, draw 2 cards. Deadly Dispute, sack a creature or artifact, draw 2 cards, create a treasure. So you sack one of your foods or your treasures and you just get a replacement. Not Dead After All, so when a creature dies, it comes back with a Wicked roll on it. Rakdos Charm, so you can exile a graveyard, destroy an artifact, or each creature deals 1 damage to its controller. That last one could be relevant if somebody does a whole bunch of swarm tactics. Oh, man. It would be, yeah, fun. Shieldred's Edict. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature or a token creature or a planeswalker. Stinging Study. You draw X cards, lose X life, or X is the mana value of the commander you own on the battlefield or in the command zone. This will draw you a bunch of cards. Terminate. Undying Malice brings your commander back. He does cost a lot, even with the treasures. And if people shut down your treasure ability, you're going to need ways to protect and bring back your Balrog. We have Unexpected Windfall. As an additional cost to play it, you discard, draw 2, create 2 treasures. Village Right, sacrifice a creature, draw 2 cards. Vona's Hunger, Ascend. Each opponent sacks a creature. If you have the city's Blessing, instead, each opponent sacrifices half the creatures they control, rounded up. For artifacts, as stated before, there's our Clock of Omens. Tap 2 untapped artifacts you control, untap target artifact, and our Nuka-Cola vending machine. Our little combo pieces right there. We do have Coin of Mastery, which is from the upcoming Turtle set, which is just like one of our earlier cards that we had up top, which is each creature you control enters with an additional 1/1 counter on it for each mana from a artifact source spent to cast it. So treasure, for example. And you can tap it to create a treasure token. That's not a tap treasure token. You just tap it to create a treasure, which is really good. In the realm where we have so many different token doublers, we have Zorn, things like that, this card is really strong. I know Turtle's bad, but this card is really, really good, friends. Diamond Pickaxe gets +1/+1 whenever it attacks, create a treasure. Gold Vein Pick, +1/+1 whenever it deals combat damage, create a treasure. Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots to protect our dude. Mask of Grizzlebrand has flying and lifelink, and whenever the equipped creature dies, you may pay X life, where X is its power to draw X cards. And the Reaver Cleaver gets +1/+1 in trample, and has whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, create that many treasure tokens. You get to create all of the treasures with your Balrog. Enchantments, we're only running 3. Revel in Riches. So whenever a creature dies, create a treasure token. And at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 10 or more treasures, you win the game. Reign of Riches. When it enters, create 2 treasure tokens. The first spell you cast each turn. That mana from a treasure was spent to cast it. Has Cascade. That should be pretty easy to do. And then we have Descent into Avernus, one of my all-time favorite cards that this seems to be the cheapest version of currently. At the beginning of your upkeep, put 2 Descent counters on this enchantment. Each player creates X treasure tokens, and it deals X damage to each player, where X is the number of Descent counters on it. For our lands, specialty lands, we have Care Keep. Lets us sacrifice some creatures, little token maker. Mines of Moria. You can exile 3 cards from your graveyard to create 2 treasures. We have Rogue's Passage in here. We have Barad-dûr, so, if a creature died when you go to activate it, you can amass orcs, which then you can also sacrifice for stuff. We have Sisir Secundi Void Altar, so you can sacrifice your Balrog if you really want to draw cards equal to its power. And Treasure Vault generates a bunch of treasures. But yeah, I feel like I did a good job with this. This is very similar to, I actually have a Sauron treasures deck. So just Grixis, where I run the Balrog in that deck. It's pretty fun overall. Let me know how I did with the deck. I really like Lord of the Rings cards. I like treasure generation. But let me know in the comments down below. If you want to see your commander made into a deck tech, drop that in the comments down below as well. As always, I'm Wester with the Hidden Gibbon. I'll be back tomorrow with another deck tech, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.